In the recent past, there's been some online controversy concerning the question of whether Father Seraphim Rose would have accepted the 2007 union of a portion of the church abroad with the Moscow Patriarchate. Rather than get directly involved in this controversy, we thought to simply present what Father Seraphim had to say in his own words on the subject matter and leave it to the judgment of the pious reader to form their own conclusions. Of course, I personally, the video editor, knew Father Seraphim Rose's godfather, who wholeheartedly said Father Seraphim never would have accepted the 2007 union, and also stated that many people are misrepresenting Father Seraphim's views concerning the Moscow Patriarchate and other matters today. Of course, Father Seraphim's godfather knew Father Seraphim very closely over the course of many, many decades, but granted, other people who also knew Father Seraphim have different opinions about this matter. But rather than speculate about the opinions of individuals and their own interpretation, we are simply presenting Father Seraphim in his own words. Thank you, everyone. Please also note the main purpose of this video is not to express agreement or disagreement with Father Seraphim's views, but to accurately present these views, to present the real Father Seraphim Rose to people. For this reason, we hope this video will be valued both by those who agree with Father Seraphim's views and those who disagree, because we all love the real Father Seraphim Rose.
What follows are 3 quotes from Father Seraphim Rose concerning the subjects of Russian Church unity and the union of ROKOR with the MP. 1. Some of our bishops, being under the influence of Solzhenitsyn, who says many good things but is certainly not very aware of church matters, suddenly got the idea of uniting with the 2 schismatic groups in America and Paris. Several bishops have told us themselves that the epistle sent to these groups was very poorly and hastily done, without even mention of the necessity to be one in the truth. As a result, the Metropolia in America jumped at the opportunity to seduce us into having communion with them, and we really feared, at the time we wrote the article on the Catacomb Church and Metropolitan Theodosius, there might be some kind of hasty union, which would be disastrous for the cause of true orthodoxy, and would have caused a schism, even if perhaps only a few would have been bold enough to separate from this union. 2. A veritable unity fever has gripped emigrant circles in recent months, partly under the influence of Solzhenitsyn. Solzhenitsyn himself wants to be one with the millions of ordinary Orthodox believers in Russia, and with all Russian Orthodox believers abroad. May God grant that he be one with them in the truth. But if it be not in the truth, but by means of some compromise in the truth, such unity is abhorrent to God and his holy church. Better for Russia to perish than to be one not in the truth. The great confessors of Orthodox history have been precisely those who rose up against false unity, preferring, if necessary, to be alone against the world if only they might be with Christ and his truth. With what mercy and love this offer of Eucharistic communion is made, in the interest of bringing back the Russian Church outside of Russia into communion with world orthodoxy, that apostate orthodoxy which has lost the savor of Christianity, and deprive it precisely of solidarity with the true Orthodox Catacomb, Editor, Church of Russia. The devil himself could not have devised a slyer, more innocent temptation, which plays so strongly on the emotions and on humanitarian motives. 3. If you and the vast majority of even the clergy of the Metropolia were not in fact ignorant of Russian church history, for the last 43 years you would know that Metropolitan Sergius's act in 1927 was condemned by many bishops in the USSR as initiating a neo-renovationist schism, that those bishops were imprisoned and or killed because they opposed Sergius, and that therefore in your ignorance you are not only receiving legalization from a neo-renovationist schismatic body, Father Seraphim is referring to the MP, Editor, but are acting fully in accord with the Soviet New Church politics, whose aim is to use the Church to destroy itself after giving maximum benefit to the Soviet government itself. At the very least, you should have refrained from any kind of concordat when there is the slightest doubt that any of this might not be false. And when the majority of free Russian hierarchs do not agree with you, you should have waited, even if it takes 100 years. Truth is that important for the Church. For a true and free all-Russian council, instead of accepting the poisoned gift of the Moscow Robber Council. Quotes 1 and 3 are from the letters of Father Seraphim. Quote 2 is from the Catacomb Tikhonite Church, 1974. Please see the Orthodox Word, number 59, November-December, 1974. Did Father Seraphim Rose, later in his life, alter his views which are expressed immediately above? We will allow him to answer in his own words. In a letter dated October 17, 1981, he writes, "I am sorry you found the Orthodox word no. 96 disturbing, but I can assure you that there was nothing in it implied about any change in our attitude towards the Moscow Patriarchate." Also, in a letter dated September 25th, October 8th, 1981, Father Seraphim reveals, "And do you really think that we have changed in recent years over the Orthodox word of old? Except for the meekening of our tone at the request of our bishops, we have not changed at all." And finally, in a letter dated December 28th/January 10th, 1981, he writes, "When you quote our own article on the Catacomb Tikhonite Church, I find no contradiction between it and our article on Fra Dimitri ... Quote number 2 above, which states, "If it unity between the Rokor and MP, editor, be not in the truth, but by means of some compromise in the truth, such unity is abhorrent to God and his holy church," is from this Catacomb Tikhonite Church article. So, do we think Father Seraphim Rose would have accepted the union of 2007? We hope this video will help us to make an educated speculation concerning this question.